That lawnmower, that's it. Start that Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know.
I made a post and basically told Roach. He tagged Lamar Roach and he said, "Look, you're not getting in that fight with Tank."
Focus and diligence are key components of Gervonta Davis's typical day as he gets ready for Jake Paul. Since speed, power, and sharpness are the foundation of every session, he maintains his discipline and focus on his objectives during sparring and conditioning exercises. Every workout demonstrates his resolve to show that he is distraction-free and prepared for the battle ahead. Rolly Romero's remarks provide the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis bout a fair viewpoint. Regardless of the result, he stresses that Tank's legacy is secure. Davis doesn't have to prove himself against Jake Paul because he is already a world champion and has achieved notable success in the sport. Romero concedes, though, that Jake's size is a relevant consideration. Being inherently bigger gives Paul an advantage physically, but it does not diminish the accolades and respect Tank has already earned.
Paul might be too big for him, but like Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, or as an exhibition, we don't know if they throw at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were to beat him or even knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
You know, some people trying to give, that's fair, some people trying to give Tank a hard time. They're saying he should have took a fight with Lamar Roach or Shakur Stevenson. But when you think about it, do you think this is business and look, he's getting a bag, or is there some validity to people saying that he ducked Roach?
I mean, there's still other options, you know. It's bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or all this stuff, right?
Paulie Malignaggi draws attention to the crucial difference between size and experience. Malignaggi maintains that boxing expertise is more important than physical prowess, even though Jake Paul has become more well-known and more muscular. Gervonta Davis has battled top opposition, headlined enormous events, and competed on the largest stages. Jake Paul is no match for Tank's years of training, ring IQ, and versatility, regardless of how big he is. Malignaggi's appraisal focuses on the idea that in boxing, ability and experience often influence outcomes above stature alone.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
Teofimo Lopez presents the event as more of a show than a sporting event. He sees entertainment and financial gain as the main goals of the battle, not prestige or rankings. He agrees that it is important to remember that Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis have the potential to earn huge quantities of money. Although it might not be as competitive as a world title match, Lopez thinks it is still useful for boxing. Even an exhibition-style bout can expand the sport's audience and attract new fans by attracting general attention.
Really invested on it, and I'm actually very happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way, you know?
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You gotta fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
The competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know. But I think for that competition, that fight, it reminds me a lot like The Big Show, and Floyd Mayweather when they fought in WrestleMania.
Yeah. And will that end the same way?
Possibly. Maybe some brass knuckles in there too.
Can you see Jake Paul knocking out Gervonta Davis?
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens.
Nate Diaz, who is renowned for his direct honesty, completely rejects the matchup. Diaz sees no real competitive value in the fight. He contends that the result does not significantly advance either fighter's career, regardless of the winner. Like professional wrestling or staged events, he describes it as a performance created solely for entertainment. His viewpoint breaks through the hoopla by portraying the fight as a sideshow instead of a respectable athletic competition.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna be.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think.
He's just too small.
It just. I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that's. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually.
You think
I'm
it's
not
a good
hating
fight?
on the fight, but I think. My thoughts on it is let's watch it, see what happens.
Ryan Garcia said that boxing is turning into WWE.
Yeah,
with that type of matchup. What do you agree? Last thing, White House card, like he said, you want Conor McGregor?
Yeah, but the whole thing's at WWE, so
Right.
like, at least that's happening and getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight actually.
Jeff Mayweather has the same suspicion as Nate Diaz. He thinks the matchup is odd and wonders why it was made. Mayweather doesn't see much sense in matching up a seasoned fighter like Tank with a YouTube sensation who is now a boxer, Jake Paul. Even while he recognizes the commercial aspect of the sport, he still finds the event strange and somewhat superfluous. His analysis captures the ambiguity surrounding crossover bouts that many traditional boxing fans experience.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank. And I mean, but with it being exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name that he's going to be fighting. But I mean, it really makes no sense because he's going to be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank is going to probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
KSI, who has experience in the influencer boxing industry, provides insight into Jake Paul's marketing strategies. He said it was never possible for Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua to fight. KSI asserts that they were intended to deceive the public and create a lot of excitement. He believes that Jake is using the fight with Tank as part of his plan to generate buzz rather than going after actual heavyweight competition. The dramatic and frequently deceptive aspects of contemporary boxing marketing are highlighted by KSI's remarks.
I knew AJ and Jake was never going to happen.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought it was actually going to happen? Bro, it's so crazy. Like, I feel like so many people just believe everything.
But that's pretty unbelievable on the other hand.
I feel like I know. Well, okay, how do I say it like this? Itoma versus White. I had a lot of people bet on White winning. And I'm there like, you guys don't watch boxing, do you? You just look at a record and go, oh, Dylan's fought many more people than Itoma. That record says a lot. Itoma's like 18, not 18, Itoma's 20, inexperienced, round one. Like, I just knew Itoma was gonna just destroy him. And I think a good fight for Itoma would be him and Wilder. I think that'd be a very good fight.
A more upbeat approach is used by BJ Flores, who has given Jake Paul significant training. He thinks that Jake will grow most effectively with cruiserweights and heavyweights because of his natural stature. But Flores admits that the Tank Davis battle creates opportunities. By competing with a champion, Jake raises his profile even further. This will therefore open up new possibilities with larger opponents in weighted divisions. According to Flores, Jake's Tank fight serves more as a springboard for his boxing career.
That's a funny story. So one of my good friends, Armani, he has been working with Jake Paul for the last 2 years. There was a little time where Shane wasn't there with Jake, and Armani called me up and said, hey, BJ, will you come down to Big Bear and spar with Jake? And I'm like, you want me to spar with Jake? I'm thinking to myself, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, he's just beating up all his sparring partners. I was like, all right. I mean, fine, I'll go down there and do it. I have been inactive. I haven't done anything for like 8 months. But I was like, okay, I'll go down there. So we spar a couple times. After that, they decided I was too big for him. And, you know, it's better if we just, you know, not do it. And, you know, then they asked me if I would be interested in like working the mitts with him and helping him with the combinations, because I was hitting him with some, you know, some combinations they hadn't seen before. And I said, we can teach him all those things and have him doing all those things. And so I started working the mitts with him and helping him out on the mitts. And he told his trainers and everybody, they're like, man, I want BJ around for the entire camp because I'm getting better. My job is like Shane does the advice in the corner and I do the mitts.
Reputable journalist Gareth A. Davies has not held back in denouncing the impending bout as a circus bout that puts show before content. He contends that even while the event might draw more public attention, it damages boxing's reputation as a serious sport. Davies claims that the obvious disparity in weight and natural divides eliminates the spirit of fair competition and substitutes it with a show intended only to make money. His criticism points to a larger worry that boxing is moving more and more toward entertainment-driven competitions where showmanship takes precedence over athletic ability. He cautions that if this pattern persists, the integrity of the sport may incur irreversible harm, since ardent supporters and purists might stop believing in its competitive framework. However, even Davies acknowledges that, in spite of his strong dislike, bouts like this create a lot of buzz, demonstrating that controversy is still one of boxing's most effective marketing strategies.
I think we've gone out of the frying pan and into the fire because we thought we were going to get Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua very soon. We'll speak to Frank Smith about that in the next section, obviously. Eddie Hearn was teasing it to me personally last week. £80 million on the table for Anthony Joshua to fight Jake Paul. But 8 inches in height difference, 7 weight divisions between them, 5 stone, 70 pounds between them. It's a joke. It's a circus fight as opposed to a disgrace of a fight, which was Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At least you feel in this you've got quite a poor, very big one against a pound-for-pound, brilliant, unbeaten little un. And the little un who'll come up to his navel will hit him with a lot of body shots. I said in the week to Danny Kelly and Charlie Brooker that, do I mean Charlie Brooker? No, Baker. Charlie Baker. That Charlie Brooker's a different person altogether. That he'll be throwing the Superman punch, the leaping left hook. It's going to be a very odd thing. It's called, in inverted commas, an exhibition bout. But everybody in boxing who is a name doesn't mind going in with Jake Paul because they know they're making millions of dollars. And that's the only reason that Gervonta Davis, who's being called the poison little elf by Jake Paul, and it'll be fun in the build-up. Everybody in boxing knows they're guaranteed to make millions of those silverbacks. those greenback notes that they give out in America, and they give them out for fun when Jake Paul fights. So he's not going to say no to it. But can you pick a winner in that fight?
I don't want to.
Vargas Jr. presents an alternative perspective that emphasizes the element of surprise. He thinks that the fight's unpredictable nature increases interest. He acknowledges that the matchup was surprising, and that in and of itself generates excitement. Vargas Jr. emphasizes how this battle provides the novelty that fans crave. He thinks the shock aspect makes it worthwhile to discuss, regardless of whether it's a good or terrible thing.
You know, the way we dress, or this generation, as far as like fighters, they relate to more who's more popular. You know, that's why we're seeing the Jake Paul versus Gervonta fight, which is, bro, that's crazy to me because we would never see that. And, you know, back in my dad's day, but now we're getting this, and it's just like, fuck it. I mean, people are going to see it, bro. So it is what it is. But whether people know him more or not, or me, it doesn't matter. You know, I know that he's coming, and he's coming game, and he wants to make a statement as well. So we're just coming to interrupt those plans. You know, this is boxing, and, you know, I'm so excited to demonstrate my skills. I could box, I could counterpunch, I could bang when I want to, and I'm gonna demonstrate that. I'm gonna do what I want to do in there. It comes September 13th.
Yeah, you know, we spoke about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But it's a 10-round fight. You know, could be a different pace of a fight. But what do you think is like the key for you to get this win, regardless if it's a knockout or if it goes all 10 rounds?
I think just be smart. Be in there, be smart, be first, and do what I do. I think if I try to do a little too much, like my dad says, when you try doing too much, it looks you're trying too hard. So only thing I gotta do is just come in the best shape possible. If it goes 10 rounds, then it goes 10 rounds. You know, we're doing 12 rounds of sparring, so if it needs to go to 10 rounds, we'll have the gas tank to go. You know, I don't know if he's gone a full 10 rounds. You know, I haven't, so it'll be something for fight day. You know, if we do end up going the distance, then we end up going the distance.